All right, so we just covered the dumb conversations that are currently happening on Fox News. On Fox and Friends, the B team was hosting, and they were talking about how the border wall is so popular and so great, and Trump is winning. And then they show everybody a poll, and the poll shows that 42% of Americans want the border wall, and 58% are opposed. That would be the opposite of winning. That would be losing. So it's just so crazy. They just talk about it casually as if it's a fact. Like, oh yeah, he's winning, which is why only 42% of Americans support his policy, and why, by the way, other polls have shown 75% of Americans think immigration is a net positive for the country. So that's what's happening on Fox News. On Fox Business Network, it's not much better. So here's Neil Cavuto and his idiot friends, his aloof, out-of-touch millionaire friends, talking about the economy and some other stuff. Take a look.
I mean, if you also look at household net worth, it's never been higher, and it's grown faster than the debt has grown. So the truth is America is stronger financially than it's ever been.
Do you think the president's going to be reelected?
I think there's a high probability that the president's elected. I think I grew up in Detroit with a lot of blue-collar buddies who worked in the auto industry. They are adamant supporters of President Trump. I think he's going to be very hard to beat in Pennsylvania, Ohio,
Michigan. You were an
Michigan,
adamant supporter of and friend to Mitt Romney.
Okay, they somehow managed to shove like 3 or 4 wrong things into a clip that's 30 seconds long. The fact that the stock market is high, and by the way, that's temporary, it'll crash at some point, I don't know when, but it's going to happen. That is no indication whatsoever as to how your average person is doing. The stock market is an indicator of how like the top 10% of Americans are doing. Average people, they feel the hurt when the economy, when the stock market tanks, because then the corporations lay people off and it's chaos for everybody. But when the stock market rises, those corporate profits are being hoarded by the rich and by the corporations. So they're not feeling, the wealth is not trickling down. That's a fact. Wages have been stagnant since the 1980s. Real wages under Trump have actually dropped 1%. So it's not, when you account for inflation, people are doing worse off now than they were when Trump was elected. 76% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Half of workers in America make $30,000 a year or less. So the economy is a total house of cards. We got over $1 trillion in credit card debt, over $1 trillion in student loan debt. None of these things are brought up. None of them. You know, there's any of a number of things could be the catalyst for the next market crash. Could be derivatives. Could be anything. And there's no bringing that up. The average net worth of Americans is at a record high. And I'm sure that's not skewed by the top 0.001% hoarding more and more and more of the wealth and buying more and more property and kicking up that average number for net worth. And then the best part is, well, you know, like, is Trump going to be hard to beat? Yes, because my friends in the auto industry and in the Rust Belt, I mean, they're totally on Trump's side. Hey, dipshit, this story just broke a month ago. Stay with the times. They are shutting down numerous GM plants and outsourcing the jobs. The Chevy Blazer is about to be made in Mexico. Now, by the way, are there policies that would stop this? Yes, but they're not pursuing them. Sherrod Brown, a senator from Ohio, is proposing very vital policies that would fight back against the outsourcing epidemic. He would give everybody a $3,500 tax credit if you buy an American car. He would punish the outsourcers when they do outsource. There's ways to go about fighting back against this, but they're not doing it. In fact, in Trump's tax bill, he incentivized outsourcing. As he's on the campaign trail talking about how he's going to stop outsourcing, 93,000 jobs were outsourced in his first year as president alone. Never mind the fact that the tax bill incentivized further outsourcing. Tax experts at the time, they're on the record at congressional hearings saying if you pass this, they're going to incentivize outsourcing. And nobody listened. They don't care because the Republicans are not working for you. Trump is not working for you. He's working for the donors. So, I got news for you. With GM plants being shut down all over America, and some in Canada, by the way, with GM plants being shut down like that, Trump is in trouble in the Rust Belt, bitch. He's in trouble there. It's not like because he does the populist rhetoric, that's going to override the lack of populist policies, the lack of actual fixing the problems. So he's in trouble, especially if he's up against Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or one of the decent politicians. He's in serious trouble in the Rust Belt. They might have went for him before, but I don't know about all that now. They're shutting down a lot of GM plants. I mean, that's like the one thing you definitely couldn't do if you wanted to keep the Rust Belt, and that's what's happening. He ain't gonna do dick about it except just say, oh, well, they better bring back the jobs soon. I'm just telling them they better do it. So this, I mean, listen, they're so out of touch. It's unbelievable how out of touch they are. Neil Cavuto and all of his idiot buddies and the people on CNBC as well as on Fox Business, they don't know anything. They have no idea about the economy, but they're put forth as if they're experts. They're really just out of touch millionaires, and they prove it time and time again.